Chad, you've shared some interesting theories and you've shared some kind of nerdy deep dives into Bible maps. But okay, now, really, what are we going to do with our maps now, Chad? Okay, I've got 3 different things, including one big, huge, cool, long-ish story. But the first thing, I've kind of already touched on it, so you can understand the bigger picture just looking at the way that Jesus is moving through Galilee, or just recognizing, hey, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, he's always up there. He never goes to Jerusalem. What's happening, in between there? Some awareness also in the Old Testament, especially as people are moving through Jerusalem, because even in Scripture, Jerusalem changes a lot. And understanding some of the uniqueness of that, or in Jesus' crucifixion, the Passion Week, in the back and forth between the Mount of Olives and in Jerusalem, there's a transition there when you realize, oh, he's having to cross some like massive deep valley every time he goes back and forth between Bethany, Bethpage, and Jerusalem over the Mount of Olives. And so it helps us understand the bigger picture. The second thing is it helps us understand theological depth. Now, an Old Testament story, the story of Hezekiah and King Isaiah, and they're fighting against the Assyrian army that's threatening them. Okay, there's an army threatening them. That seems like that might be kind of a bummer, but you pull out this map, and I saw somebody talk about this on Substack a couple weeks ago, and I didn't save the post, but this person inspired me specifically with this analogy, was, you look at how big the Assyrian Empire was at the time, and Jerusalem, or the nation of Judea, was pretty much at that point in time this tiny little blip smack in the middle of the world's largest superpower that was sitting on, 2 different continents all throughout the Middle East, into Asia Minor, and in Africa. They were massive, and you just see, what type of tenacity and faithfulness does it take for Isaiah and for Hezekiah to stand up in that regard? And the third thing, and this is where we're going to get really nerdy, is you understand about specific stories. But we're going to go into Judges 4 and 5, the story of Deborah, or Deborah, depending on how you want to pronounce her name, and Barak. Now, this story is cool. It's wild, but it takes place at the Jezreel Valley. And what's interesting about the Jezreel Valley is this massive amount of terrain that's really weird and really different, and it's impossible for us to understand all the things that go into this story. Napoleon Bonaparte, when he passed through the Jezreel Valley on the way to Egypt, said, "I have never seen a more perfect battlefield in all of the earth."